If you're following Depp and Heard and have been and the events after Virginia, you might know Amber got tangled up in this little lawsuit after the case ended with an insurance company. Now, the thing is, it seems they came to a settlement. Now, I'm not great at these court documents, but I get the gist of it that Amber, once again, is pretty much off the hook for it. She won't have to worry about it, just like the Australia incident where they let her off the hook for the perjury pretty recently. This tweet's from the real Laura B. Excuse me, this post. It's not actually a tweet anymore. So let's see what she's got. Update. Travelers vs. New York Marine countersuit. They have reached a settlement in principle. Documents being finalized. So basically, they're finalizing a settlement. I suppose what that means is it's not actually gone through yet, but it's a sure thing. Of course, Laura's got some court documents, which means her info is pretty accurate. The parties are currently in the process of drafting the necessary settlement documents. The parties respectfully request that all dates and impending deadlines be vacated by the court. The parties will immediately file a stipulation of voluntary dismissal with prejudice pursuant to Fed R Civ P with some number after that once the terms of settlement have been fulfilled. Fancy way of saying they're coming to a settlement. So that part's a little technical and dry, but Laura has a theory about what went on in their head before the case started, and of course, some receipts to back her theory up. And here's what Laura says. Speculating. Travelers Pam Johnson believed AH. Speculating. She thought this would be a huge marketing coup. Number 1. Win for a real victim, backed a liar. Number 2. Hired famed Me Too attorney Roberta Kaplan, who hightailed out. Number 3. Squeezed out NYM local counsel. Number 4. Expected to be reimbursed after AH1 via anti-slap defense. So the thing is, these companies, as we'll find out, which I believe, use old statistics on who they think will win the case. And traditionally, as we know, a lot of times the man is proved to be the abuser or the man is the abuser. But the thing people have forgotten when we talked about this over the years is that we're not talking about all men and all women. We're talking about this specific case. And in this case, it was Amber who was proved to have defamed Johnny and to an extent proved to be the abuser. And here's the email Laura points out. Obviously, the one important part is in red, which I was talking about. Pamela, I want to touch base with you on this again. As discussed, you intend to issue a reservation of rights based on the intentional acts exclusion under which you will offer our insured independent counsel, which appears to be a New York City firm for a Fairfax, Virginia Avenue. Reserving rights under the intentional acts exclusion is not necessary as coverage for willful acts is not insurable as a matter of public policy, just like punitive damages, see attached. Reserving rights under the intentional acts exclusion is not necessary as coverage for willful acts is not insurable as a matter of public policy, just like punitive damages, see attached. If you reserve rights by simply saying, to the extent that the California law does not permit an insurer to indemnify the insured, no indemnity can be provided, you address both willful acts and punitive damages, and you still can control the defense as there is no conflict of interest under California law. Particularly speaking as well, a jury finding willful actions in connection with the op-ed is slim to nil. Well, that slim to nil actually ended up in a unanimous vote of 7 people in Johnny's favor. So this was really wrong. Now, Laura's theory here, and some other people's theory that I agree with, is that's the old way of thinking. So, I mean, they weren't totally wrong. Traditionally, the odds were with them. But I guess they didn't really do the research on the case. I guess they didn't watch Incredibly Average. I guess they just thought it didn't matter. So they took that bet, and it was wrong. And we've got a bunch of people obviously agreeing with Laura. And somebody blamed Elon Musk for being associated with travelers, and the real Laura B points out that Musk is not associated with travelers. I'm not saying after they broke up, Musk didn't help her at all. Maybe he threw her a couple of bucks or whatever. But I think, especially after Virginia, he just stayed away from it. At this point, I think he just really doesn't want to be involved. No way for anyone to totally prove it definitively, but he's written one line about it in, I don't know, 3 or 4 years or something. And he talks about everything he wants to. He goes against the grain, against these censorship companies. He's not the type of person who's scared to talk about things he believes in, is what I'm saying. Anyway, that's what I got. You could go over, give the Real or be a follow on X, formerly Twitter, if you want. Take a read. But like I said, the gist of it is, it appears Amber's pretty much, like I said on my thumbnail, off the hook. You know, all in all, the whole thing was a good memory. It was a win, but it would have been nice to see some kind of a punishment for your actions, or I should say for the actions of the one who some do not like to name anymore. If you're not subscribed here, consider it. If you don't, I'll be sad, but I'll get over it. See you next time.